All right, everyone. Welcome to the lead generation masterclass. Super excited to be hosting this one for you all. I know that lead gen is one of the more common problems in the online space. So, throughout the call, I do recommend that you all jump in the chat and try and engage as much as possible because I will be answering questions towards the end of the call. So let's jump into it. So, why is it so hard to get leads? And the reality is, in the digital world we're in at the moment, more effort is required for lead generation than ever before. And especially within the online coaching space, I'm sure that a lot of you were pushed into the online coaching space during COVID when people had money to spend and nothing to do. So the buying culture was very different compared to the culture that we're in now. We are currently in a more conservative buying environment and economy, and more effort needs to be put towards lead generation than ever before. It is much harder to get leads in the digital space. That is due to applications such as TikTok and Instagram, seeing people's life and having so much media consumption. When you think about how many people are putting out similar messages to you, this is the reason why it is extremely difficult. So it's not your business's fault. It's just the buying market that we're in at the moment. Now, buying markets do grow and change throughout the years. So it might be really tough and then it might get a little bit easier. But the number one thing that we should be focusing on is the consistency. So this brings me to my next question is, do you actually have a lead generation problem or do you just have a consistency problem? So who here is actually consistent with their marketing efforts? Who has a marketing plan, digital marketing, social media strategy, shows up on their stories constantly, shows up on their feed, maximizes different medium outlets and resources? Who has marketing spend? So this is the biggest thing that I see is you don't actually have a lead gen problem. It's more of a marketing consistency problem for coaches. So, again, another thing is, do you get upset when you sell after posting for one day and you get no leads? Do you expect do you expect people to turn into customers as soon as you post something? These are really big ones. So if you answer yes to any of these problems, you actually have a consistency problem, not a lead problem. If you aren't maximizing your marketing efforts, it's not leads that is the problem. It's the fact that your business isn't being seen enough online. As business owners, and especially as online coaches, you need to start looking at marketing as part of your job, not a facet of the job that you can choose to do if you want. And if you want to be a coach, then you have to sac I just got some playback. If you want to be a coach, oh, I can hear myself. One second. Is everyone on mute? Okay. So, where was I? Sorry, that playback has put me, I don't know where I am. So, if you are a coach in the online space and you are having a lead problem, I really recommend for you to make some sacrifices with your investments and actually continually invest in your marketing strategy, and you're going to notice a huge difference. So, one of the main questions we get is how do I actually get more leads? And a lot of the time, it's honestly just time and consistency. So, to flip the script for all of you, it's honestly just losing weight. It's the same thing. If you want to get results, it's time and consistency in the program. You just flip the script into business, and that's all it is. But the one part that I see people getting most frustrated over is the time. We do live in a digital marketing age where we see a lot of overnight success, but we actually forget that it takes us years to get there. So it's really important to take this part of the equation. So let's start from the very start. So I'm going to go through different ways to get leads and different strategies, but I want to know what you all classify as a lead. Do you guys all know what a lead is? Do you have different classifications as leads? What do you personally consider a lead? Yep, an inquiry. Mhm. So leads are very different. from business to business. Some businesses you will see leads as, just inquiries. Other times it'll be new followers. Other times it'll be people that message you. So really this is on you to classify what a lead is for your business. And this is really important to understand this classification because you need to have a lead funnel in place for your business to survive. So wherever that starting point is and wherever you want to classify that lead from, that's where your lead funnel begins. So again, this is going to be different from person to person, and we can go over this at the end of the call. It's really important to understand what you classify as a lead because if you just think a DM is a lead, but you're not considering a follower as a lead when that follower might be warm, you're missing out on customers. So it's really important to know where that sits. Another thing I see here as well is new followers are leads. What if they're just following just because they love following along? What if they're not actually a warm follower? There's way too much emphasis on that follower number on profiles. Followers really don't determine success at all. They just give a credibility standpoint once you get bigger. So if anything, the most successful businesses I work with and that I see have under 2,000 followers because their audience is so engaged with them. So yes, we would classify a new follower as a lead because of how engaged that Instagram page is. So if you have a lead problem, I want to put you on the spot. Do you actually track your leads? Do you know the stage of life cycle that your customers are up to within your business? And do you know that in every different life cycle, there's different language that you use with your customers? If you are struggling with leads, but you don't actually track them, how do you expect to improve your lead problem? Again, you can flip the script. If your customer wants to lose weight, but they're not tracking their macros, how can they expect to get the results that they want to get? So this is the biggest one that I see because normally when I start working with people, they have leads. They're just not tracking them and they don't know where they're going. You need to understand your business inside and out in order to get the data that you want to get. So this is really, really important. And if you've said no to any of these, then you have a tracking problem. When I talk about the life cycle of customers and where they're up to in the business, I will get into this soon. But basically, there's different areas, like there's different stations of customers within your business, and we can walk through that. So I know this is going to sound like a broken record, but there is a reason why we talk about it so much. The key to getting leads is to actually know who you're speaking to. If you don't know who you're speaking to, then how do you expect to actually solve their problems? And this is the number one thing that I see going wrong over and over and over is that people do not know who they are speaking to because they are too scared to niche down because they're scared they're going to lose customers. So, what is the most simple way to understand who you're speaking to? Well, the first thing that we can do is audit our customers. Go back to your check-in form, go back to week 1, go back to the first 4 weeks. What are all the problems that they're having? These are the problems that your followers are having. If you've attracted these customers and there's shared problems across the board, these are the problems that your followers are having. This is the easiest form of figuring out and auditing your business possible. You've got all the data there. I can probably assure you that in week 1, they're probably going to, if you're a Gen Pop coach, they're probably going to ask, I don't know how to track. I don't know how to count macros. I don't know how to count micros. If there is a problem that you see over and over and over and over, highlight it. So, a lot of form platforms these days have like a spreadsheet area. You can export it as a spreadsheet, pop it into Google Drive, highlight when you see things double up. This is the way to understand your customers the best. Polls. People don't use their stories in order to audit their audience. We have tools and we have audiences looking at us. It's never been easier to get marketing data in a digital age, the way that we're in now. Ask them, what do you want from me? What do you struggle with? Look at what content performs the best. Is it nutrition content? Is it training content? I can probably guarantee you it's nutrition content that's going to perform the best because that's the number one thing that people struggle with. And then actually audit your customers as well. Sorry, I read the third one first, not the first one, third. So basically, the best way to get a customer audit is edit the check-in form 1 week. So they're all going to fill in their check-in form anyway, add a few questions into it because they're submitting that form. So you might as well just add a few on, Take it, get some answers, and then you can delete it from the next week. And that's a really great way to get a good customer audit. And ask questions such as like, what was your aha moment with me? What did I teach you that changed everything for you? What were you really struggling with when you came on board? Where was your mindset at? Getting that aha moment in particular is the most important. You'll see so many answers of like, you taught me how to track adequately. You taught me how to play that jigsaw puzzle with fitting all my macros into the equation. This is content. This is content gold for you. So this is going to make it a lot easier. Again, I will scream this from the rooftops. If you speak to everyone, you will speak to absolutely no one. If you try to speak to different parts of the audience because you love working with everyone, you're going to have a really hard time getting some leads. You're going to be making your situation very difficult for yourself. You just need to pick one person and you need to go with it. Now, as business goes on, you will find that your ideal customer will change and they will share different values, and then you'll be basically promoting the values of the business. But has everyone got a niche here? Are people too scared to niche down? Have you tried to niche and it didn't work? I would love to get some feedback. So let's talk messaging. Who knows what messaging is? So, messaging I find to be one of the most confusing areas of marketing because it's so overcomplicated. And basically, all it is how you communicate your value through highlighting key selling points to your audience. So, how do you solve your customer's problem that makes their life easier or better? And that's all that it is. Your messaging comes down to a lot of different factors. So, how you solve your customer's problem, I'm just trying to think of a scenario. So, for example, I think I've got an example on the next page. Yeah. Um, it really comes down to your tone of voice. So let's just use the example I was thinking of. If you are an empathetic postpartum coach, you want to take on mums because you're feeling very empathetic and you understand the pain. If your personality is blunt or if your tone of voice is too evidence based, you're not going to attract them. You need to understand where your tone of voice sits. You need to understand how you speak to people and how they want to be spoken to. And this is why it's really important to ask your customers personality questions. What attracts you to me? What kind of personality do you have? Understanding that personality side of your customer is going to really help bring them on board. But these are the main key factors that you need to look at. And this all comes back to your customers. Auditing your customers, getting your top 5 customers in a room, they'll tell you exactly what they want to know and what they want to hear. And that is your messaging for your brand. Now, messaging is going to grow and change in the times, and that's okay. It's one of the things you're going to consistently have to improve on. But it is just something that you really need to keep in mind. And the only way that you're going to figure this out is by asking your top 5 customers over and over and over. So this is something I see a lot, and this is just an example. But for example, let's go along with that empathetic route, right? If your business is about empowering women, getting on your story and tearing down others is not in alignment with your messaging. And this is a big contributor to not getting customers. If your business is a safe space for people and you're on your stories, lack of a better word, talking shit, if you're tearing down people, if you're belittling others, why would someone want to sign up with you? So it's really important that your messaging does really align with who you are as a person. And I've just used obviously an obvious example, but even with, if you tell your customers that they need to track their food, but you're constantly posting about how you don't track your food. Is that in alignment with your customers? Like you need to have a little bit of a give and take with these situations. The way that you show up is messaging your business to people. So this is why it's really important to have messaging at the core of who you are and making sure that your business is growing with you. A really typical one we see here is a bodybuilding competitor and a gem pop customer. Really, really common. Unless you have the messaging of like, this is the extreme, you don't need to do this. This is just my passion. And unless you get that across properly, there's going to be a huge disconnect between, well, you're telling me that I don't need to do that, but you're on your stories all the time saying you do this, and this. So it's like picking and choosing what you're going to post on there to make sure that you're in alignment. This is something I see done all the time. All the time is I want to be a safe space. I want to empower women, but you're not empowering yourself or your business. And this is a really big one. This is the easiest way to lose trust in your audience. And trust is the number one thing that is going to sell your business. Can you guess what the number one mistake that all coaches make when it comes to messaging and marketing? Probably going to rattle a few bones here. Lack of empathy, a huge lack of empathy. And you might be sitting here saying, no, I'm so empathetic and I understand the individual. This is one of the most common things I hear. They are lazy. I actually want someone that's motivated. They just don't do anything. They should know what I offer. There's a huge, huge gap between you. You're a coach, you live and breathe this. Some people don't live and breathe health like you do. And there is a huge disconnection of actually teaching the customer what they want to know. And when you look at this, when it comes to empathy, obviously there's a fine line between coaching, and I'm not going to go into that area, right? But you need to understand that you need to tell your customers what they want to hear. If you think about some of the biggest people in this industry, evidence-based training, Evolution, Move with Us, what do they market? They market what their customers want to hear. They keep it simple. They keep the basics. They keep empathy. They make it fun. They're not telling their customers that you should just know. They're not posting online and saying, well, they don't actually know. It's not my fault. It's their fault. You need to make sure that you can bring that out within your marketing. So really, and I know it can be a little bit frustrating, but it's a really, really big one if you want to bring customers on board. And especially if I come across a lot of individuals, and look, I've done this before as well. You want to look smart compared to your peers. You want to look really valued and like credible against your peers. Who cares about your peers? They're not buying your service. Speak to the people that are going to buy your service, and this is the most important thing. Again, you need to take yourself out of the equation and start marketing to their pain points. You're not the hero in their story. They are the hero in their story, and you're giving them the tools to equip them. That's really important. Let's talk about being specific to pain points because this is what I see a lot. It's really common for us to look at bigger companies in the industry and copy what they're doing, but the difference is they have numbers and you don't. So they have 500,000 followers, you've probably got 5,000 followers. So what works for them isn't necessarily going to work for you. And this is why you're probably finding like having a bit of a struggle speaking to customers and getting them on board. So, for example, training and not seeing results. This is super vague. It doesn't really say much. Is it training like once a fortnight? Is it swimming? Like, what is it? So instead of you train and see no results, you show up 4 days a week, give effort, and feel stagnant. See how you're not just giving a vague assumption, you're actually saying, I know that you're doing this, and I know that you're not getting results, and this is the reason why you're not getting results, and that's what I can fix. So see how a little tweak in that word actually hits a core problem. So for example, you eat healthy and aren't losing weight. What's health to everyone? Everyone has a different assumption of and a viewpoint of what health is. You might talk to the next person down the street and they think health is drinking a dare iced coffee every morning. Is that health to you? No. So you need to be really clear about it. You've cut out all your favorite foods to eat clean only to feel like you're making no progress. That relates to people. That doesn't. So you see how you tweak it and you just activate like a core problem that they're having. Another, like for example, it's like the binge and restrict cycle. It's like you're eating 1,200 calories from Monday to Friday and blowing out on the weekends. So many people can relate to that because you're actually giving them a specific instance of what they're actually doing and you're pointing out what they're doing. And by saying this, because you're auditing your customers and you know what their problems are, you know what their problems are going to be. You're tracking on MFP, but you're still not getting results. Are you tracking wrong? So see how, like, I know I keep coming back to asking your top five customers quarterly. I get five customers a month on like every single month on a call. I'm constantly speaking to the top five in my business because at the end of the day, if I don't sell something that you guys want, I'm not going to make money. So it's really important. Like, don't feel like you're being a problem. You're just bettering the service for them and understanding them better. So I really, really recommend just add that into your cycle, calendar reminder every month, get top five customers in a room, ask problems, something like that, and you can go through it. But see how these little changes could make all the difference with bringing a customer on board. Again, you need to understand your customer. I know it sounds like a broken record. And when I was creating this presentation, I was like, oh, it's nothing new. But honestly, we don't need to reinvent the wheel on this stuff. If you do not understand what they want, you're not going to be able to sell anything to them. With this marketing, it's not fear mongering. It is more just showing a pain point and showing how you provide a solution to it. So you need to be really careful of like inducing fear into people versus this is your pain point and this is how I fix it. So just make sure that your language reflects that, because that is really important. You don't want people signing up in a really fear-based, vulnerable state because it can create dramas. You just want to point out that you can solve the problem. And look, when you do it this way and point out the pain points, it's going to take you longer. Just like losing weight takes longer when you do it the correct way. So let's talk about how to actually get leads. So what I've done is I've gone how to get leads from zero. So if you're not getting leads at the moment, I'm going to take you through a four-step method that honestly works every single time for customers when they do it accurately and when they're consistent with it. So there's four steps to it: content creation, engagement, start conversations, and provide free value. And I know that you've probably all heard this before, but there's a reason why, because it works. So step one, content. Content is your job, guys. It's simply not a part of the job that you can pick and choose. If you want to be an online coach, you have to be online, point blank. If you want to get customers, how are you going to get them if you don't post content? Now, I know that you're probably out there thinking, well, these bigger coaches probably don't post content. They've been in the industry for 12 plus years. They've been able to build their capacities. There will come a time where you can step back a little bit, but to get customers in the first push in the first couple of years, you have to show up online. And there's always conversations around, well, Nike, they aren't the face of their brand and bits and pieces like that. They've got athletes that show up online and sell their brand for them. So it is so important to prioritize content as your job. Like the first thing I do when people work with me, I'm like scheduling content. I want to see a day full of content with you to get it done. And it requires consistency. You don't post 10 times a week and then the following week you don't post nothing because you burn out. 3 posts a week is enough as long as they're good quality posts. So don't like eat all the different methods. Like don't go, I want to do TikTok, Instagram, email marketing, and podcasting. It's not going to work. Let's start with one. Let's get the first one really good and then compound on it. Remember, business is not a race, it's a marathon, and you're going to be in this business for life. When it comes to content creation, what style of content do you post? Content that relates to your audience. Now, I can't give you content styles in this call because each customer is very different. Each profile is very different. I just will say get a digital marketing strategy from someone and they will help you with your content. But basically, go back to your five top customers. What problems are they having? Let me create content out of that. That's going to relate to my audience. You're making the equation easier. As a coach, you need to invest in it. Like point blank period, you have to invest in content, photo shoots, B-roll videos, booking times to film in a gym. Like it's going to be the key to selling your business. Highly recommend putting a budget aside, whether that's 100 a month, 200 a month, just a little bit of money aside every single month to film some content to keep yourself accountable. We all know as soon as we pay for something, we're doing it. So pay in advance, get some stuff done in advance, and get your content and keep it updated. You need to think of how fast this industry innovates, right? So we're in 2025. In 2023, spreadsheets were the hottest thing in the industry. Now, who wants to work off a spreadsheet? No one. So our consumers are moving that fast with us as well. So by utilizing and keeping up to date with content and different styles and making sure that your content is fresh, you're constantly innovating with the industry, not getting left behind with it. It's inevitable. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's inevitable to have a marketing budget. So you definitely should have one. You must invest in it. As I said, I don't know how many people here listen to our podcast, but I commonly go on about sacrifices for luxuries. And basically, what it is if you love being a coach and that's all you want to do, you have to make a sacrifice with revenue and outgoing. So, have your outgoing and pay more money in order for you to be a coach. So, if you don't want to do like all the marketing and create the reels, you still have to film it, but you have to make sacrifices where you want luxuries. So, if you want the luxuries of just being a coach, you have to sacrifice paying for someone to do your marketing because you need it. You can't get through your business without it. It's very, very important. Your customers don't care if your content is perfect. If anything, they don't want it to be perfect. They just want you to be relatable. They really just want to watch it and get value from it. They're not going to care if your kitchen's black, if it's ugly, if, they're not going to care if the lighting isn't perfect. They're not going to care if you don't look perfect that day. They just want to see the content. Who's a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to content that you're putting out? I can really relate. Look, our marketing girl Maddie is here, and I just don't know what goes out because if I'd controlled it, we'd have no content going out because I'm a perfectionist. So I totally get it. But hey, I'm taking what I say to you guys, and I just get someone to do it for me. I'm just there talking about it. So I know how hard it is, but this is why it's so important to have someone there doing something for you if you don't want to do it, so your business can continually grow. Okay, it can be overwhelming with how many platforms are available to post content on, but I recommend being across at least two. So, what platforms is everyone on? Instagram and Facebook.
Forward moves. I just saw it on Instagram. I should quickly grab my laptop. I forgot it was on.
Awesome. So lots of email marketing, lots of Instagram, lots of TikTok. So my biggest recommendations, all these platforms sell really, really well. My two favorites, if you guys followed us for a while, you'd know email marketing and Instagram are our two picks. But TikTok is actually really fun to be on if you know how to do it properly. So making sure that you're consistent across two platforms that you love, this will grow over time as your capacity grows, but understanding that each different platform has a different strategy. So it's really important to know what you're going to be putting out. So I've just put a little bit of a list here. So TikTok is just organic content. Honestly, you could throw something at a wall and it would go viral on TikTok. So don't try and screen anything for that. Email marketing is storytelling. That's what sells the best in email marketing. So basically, this is my problem. This is how it's affecting me. This is how it relates to you. And here are some actionable tips for you to overcome that. And that could be anything. That could be, um, you know, um, your training app is having problems and it's really frustrating you and it's really annoying me, but this is how it relates to your life. I know that life can get frustrating and things go wrong all the time. Here are some tips that I use to get on with it. It can be something as simple as that. Instagram is value-based marketing, so providing the audience with value in order for them to follow and engage you. So again, coming back to your top five customers, knowing their problems and posting about them. And YouTube vlogs are coming back, guys. I don't know if anyone was in the YouTube days, but YouTube videos are coming back. People are really starting to love long form content, especially what's behind the scenes. I definitely see a lot of coaches undervaluing what they do behind the scenes with check-ins. And if anything, that is super interesting to know as a consumer. So, how you come up with the nutrition plan, what you look at, how you decide on a training program, how you build it out, that stuff is super interesting and can really get some customers over the line because they can see the effort that you're putting in to say, I don't just give you a meal plan, I actually look at all of these little variations and then I create one from that. So, don't undervalue the work that you do behind the scenes. That's actually going to be the stuff that sells your business more. And humans are naturally nosy. We love to know what's going on behind the scenes. So I would definitely recommend doing that. Yes, podcasts are part of it as well. Podcasts are a fantastic way to get content. Um, I have a recommendation that I give to a lot of people that podcast is kind of like a three-edged sword, really, because you film the podcast in a studio, you can upload it onto YouTube, which is hitting a YouTube channel. You have content that your customers can listen to if that's how they consume it, but then you also have content that you can clip and put onto your social media. And podcast content can be way more organic than sitting in front of the camera and going, okay, I'm going to talk about flexible dieting. We all know how like jolting that can be. It can be like a lot. So by having a podcast, it's a really great way to get just a pure conversation across and you can snip that. Just like personally, since we've had the podcast, it's made our content so much easier because we just snip clips from it and it does its job there. So if you're looking at something that's going to, tick like three things in one, that's a really great way to do it. And you could have like a really unique customer experience with that too. So maybe you have a bit of an exclusive podcast for your customers when they come on board that they can listen to whilst they're getting ready instead of watching videos or something like that to get ready for the coaching journey. So absolutely love podcasts. They're like a 10 out of 10. So easy, so good, but they are very expensive. So you want to make sure that you do have marketing spend there and you want to be consistent with it. The next is engagement, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, guys. Engagement is the worst job ever. It is the most frustrating job when it comes to social media. But sometimes we need to look at our social media account and see if it's dead or see if there's anything wrong with it. So, just like how things can go stale in general, you might have had your page you might have turned your personal page into a business page, right? Or you might have been a competitor a couple of years ago and now you're going down a different leaf. A lot of your followers might be from that previous life. They might be just following you, lots of bots, things like that. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with going through your Instagram and cleaning it out. There's nothing wrong with it. Removing followers that are bots. If you're a female-based coach, removing males as your followers, there's nothing wrong with it and kind of like stripping back to normal. There's a bit of a fine line here. If it's going to be too much, just start a new profile kind of thing. But there is nothing wrong with doing that. And if anything, if engagement is really shocking on a platform and I'm working with a customer on it, this is something we'll do first in order to boost the engagement back up to get them in front of the right audience. And then actually taking the time to engage with your ideal audience. So I see a lot of engagement across peers, and that's okay. But if you're focusing on peers and not focusing on engaging with your ideal customer, your peers aren't going to buy from you. They're only going to support you. So I really recommend that, everyone lives near a local gym, everyone lives near a box gym. Click on them, have a look, see if there's any customers that look like your ideal. Go and engage with them. If you want to follow them, give them a follow and start pushing your account out there. Because what's happening is when people are following you, that are your ideal customer and they're liking your stuff, Instagram goes, oh, this person has the same interest. I'm going to push that profile to them. Oh, this person has the same interest. I'm going to push the profile to them. So it's pushing your profile back out. So again, this stuff sucks. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Engagement sucks. It's really time consuming. It's exhausting and you feel like you just don't want to do it, but it works. So I've put like a really simple one here, like 10 reels, like 10 posts, respond to 10 stories, just to get your content out there. Yeah, I always say this, but it is the worst. Um, the best thing you can do is just habit stack it, get on the treadmill, do it when you're on the treadmill, make it a routine, something like that. So again, don't do this for 2 weeks and give up. Do it for 3 times a week, every single week. Every single week, do it 3 times a week. Moving from the bottom up is the best way to do it. There will be a time where you can stop. There will be a time where you don't need to do it, but your business does take grit. It does take getting under the bonnet, doing the work yourself, getting your profile out there. I promise you, you won't need to do it forever. But if you want to get your business to that point where lead generation is easier, you need to do the hard stuff now. Step three, DM outreach. Does anyone here utilize DMs for their business? It's so easy to get lazy with, Brooke. It really is. So there's a lot of controversy around DMs in the industry, I will say. I feel like it's a bit of an ego pride thing that we all get scared to reach out to customers because we feel like we're asking for business. Does anyone feel like that? Yeah, it can get a little bit tough, but it's really important to start conversations with people. I have a really great example of this. There is a lady that writes our marketing strategies for the membership, and she literally reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to write that marketing strategy. Can I do it for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's great. Go for it." So, like, by starting conversations like that, it can really help. There is a reason why people tell you guys to do DMs, and it's because I want you to, if you, for example, work with customers that are newer to the industry, right? And you're a Gen Pop coach, and maybe you're taking on someone that's had a little bit of experience, but not much, they're scared. Fitness and health is scary. Like when you think about it, they're probably thinking that they're going to have to throw their whole life away. They're probably thinking that everything needs to change because there's so much fear mongering online. And they're probably scared to reach out because they feel embarrassed about their problems and they don't want to admit that they're doing something wrong. I mean, you would probably feel like that too, right? So by reaching out to someone and by supporting them and helping them talk to you, you're actually helping them come on board with your business. And it is one of the most powerful forms of lead generations. I know businesses that are doubled through lead gen. If you're using it as your only method, it's not going to work, but in the equation together, it will work. Now, here are some things that you can include. So, messaging each new follower to your page and welcoming them, responding to those who view your stories frequently, posting polls and starting conversations with those who vote on them or tap stickers. There's a reason why people are engaging. If they're not there to buy, they like your content. And if they like your content, they're more than likely to go to a friend and be like, hey, look at Ash's page. So we want to be starting conversations with these people. There's always going to be followers on your page that are just people that love your brand and will never buy from you. And that's okay because they're the ones that are going to shout you from the rooftops. So with DM outreach, I do see it done. I wouldn't say incorrectly because there is a really good way to do it, but I do see it done incorrectly. Um, Very vague like vague DMs, like let me know if I can help you. Well, how am I supposed to know what I need help with? Honestly, like how am I supposed to know what to help? I don't even know what fitness and health is. Like how are you supposed to help me? Let them know any questions. I see how like you're giving them decision fatigue by saying, hey, like let me know if there's anything you need. So what you need to do is you need to entice them and like take control of that situation. So I've got an example here. I don't know why it's not showing. So see how on this one it says, let me know if anything stands out if you have any questions. Yes, for sure. It doesn't give them anything to respond back to, right? But with this one, it was a welcome DM, sending through a recipe book. She's bitten. I play football while studying, working so much makes it so easier, right? She's bitten. So we're going to play on what she's told us because she's telling us something for a reason. Oh, football. That's so interesting. What struggles do you have with nutrition around football? See how you've started that conversation and she's seeing that there's a pain point within what she's currently doing at the moment. So you want to get them to doing things like this. If they're giving them details about your life, they're interested in your service, basically. If they're saying all these things, they're interested. So play on it and keep it open. I've done like a little bit of an example here. So thanks for following me for the month of April to celebrate Easter. I'm giving all new followers access to an Easter themed recipe book. Thank you. Let me know if you have a favorite recipe. I might have something similar in my recipes I can send you. They tell you what recipe. Oh, do you know about tracking macros and food? Has that been an interest for you? Yes, I'm interested, but I struggle. Pain point. You've got it. You've got them hooked and you can talk to them and you can educate them. So see how you're keeping the conversation open with them by asking them questions and getting feedback from them. The more that you do this, the more that you're going to be able to read that customer. So when someone jumps in my DMs and they tell me I have a problem, I can usually clue on pretty quickly about what it's for and I'll ask them straight away. So the more that you do this, the more that you cue on to what the problem is, and then you can solve it within the DMs. Now, main goal of the DM, get them on a call. I always say this to people, just get them on a call. It is so much easier to sell to a customer on a call than it is through the DMs because how often does everyone open a DM and just leave it and walk away from their Instagram? It's really easy. We can ignore emails, we can ignore messages, we can't ignore calls, especially when I mean, we cannot show up to them, but that's okay. We've got their lead. You can't ignore them on the call. You're going to open up on the call. And a lot of the time, when you get them on a call, they're just going to explode and tell you everything and realize that they've got a problem on the call. So it's really important. So I hope that helps a little bit with being a little bit more clear and direct with the DMs. Um, So here are some strategies that you can utilize. So welcoming all followers, giving a free ebook, giving away a free health consult call, no strings attached. So like, hey, like I'm giving out free calls. I always use like for the month of April or something like that, just to make it seem a little bit more limited. Give away free meal plans, training plans. I know if this is not in your ethos, that is okay. You don't need to. For example, with that football girl, we're giving her a free meal plan because she's obviously said that she's struggling. She struggles to eat, so we're going to give her a meal plan and then we're going to follow that up with the nurturing sequence of how did it go? I'd love to jump on a call with you. So continually having that conversation. Now, DMs and this DM strategy, it's not like a 2 week thing, guys. It can be a 3 month thing. I have a customer whose main form of lead generation is DMs, and she'll be nurturing for a year sometimes, but it is a constant form of lead generation, and it's the one thing that gives her sales in her business. So that strategy works really well for her. So we go really heavy handed in that strategy and we lean back on some of the others. So it's trying to like find the things that work for you by using multiple and just trying to figure it out. It's all a learning curve. So yes, you need to give away free value so people can actually start trusting you. Very much like this masterclass here, so people can start trusting you and know that you've got an expertise as well. So does anyone here feel a little bit iffy about giving things away for free? Does it make you feel a little bit uncomfortable? All right. So step 4, free value. And this kind of ties into the DM structure. So if you have no customer results, if you haven't tracked any leads, if you've got nothing to show for what your business does to an individual, how do you expect people to sign up with you? Just because you know that the method works, how do they know that the method works? So this is a really icky part when starting your business. This is the grunt work that you're going to be doing. You need to provide free value to people. You need to show them that you can do what you're saying that you're doing. Whether this is a 14-day program that you get people in a community group and build a community with, whether this is free health audits, giving away free ebooks, doing bits and pieces to show them that your service is worth of value. Bonus points with your free value if it's something tangible that they can follow along. So, for example, biggest problem in the industry is accountability. Can you make like an accountability tracker that they can select a habit and tick it off for 7 days or something like that? So they actually have a tangible thing to follow because it's not just something that they download and leave in their inbox. Free value. This can also coincide with like lower ticket programs, like challenges and things like that as ways in, but you can still do free value pieces of free meal plans, XYZ. Stop being scared to give away free content. Honestly, prioritize it. Give away anything that you can. The more you do this, the quicker you're going to convert customers. I'm a huge fan of this stuff. Like, even just, for example, reaching out to a local gym saying, hey, can I do like a free call for everyone to turn up? Can I provide you with a free resource? It gets you in front of a pool of hundreds of people at a gym, like your nearest BFT or your nearest F45, you could reach out and ask them. You can think of ways to get in front of people and provide free value and free content. If you are really strong on not giving this away, like you need to give in order to take. That's the biggest thing that I'm going to say. Even in the start of my journey when we used to be a different business, I think I gave away like 100 My Fitness Pal guides in return for shout outs on Instagram, and that's how we initially grew in the first phase. So getting really smart and getting people on board. So a big question I get is how do I actually give away free content? It's confusing because we want to track leads and we want to make sure that we have leads. So obviously, if you are privy with email marketing platforms, you know that you can set up forms, which in turn give away free content. But there's so much value in doing a sticker tab, voting on a poll, sending it manually, getting their email manually, like manually speaking to them, and you doing the work yourself. So again, the less steps that there are for the customers to achieve the item or to achieve a goal or an action, the better it's going to be. So you need to do it. You need to do the manual stuff. So it doesn't really matter how you do it as long as they get it. So this brings us into the second phase of if you have leads but need more consistent leads and you want to have leads running through like ebbs and flows and you want to take 2 weeks off over Christmas without worrying that you're going to lose customers, this is the next phase for you. So your customers quite literally buy results from your business. So show them the results. And the best way that you can do this is user generated content. I can probably safely say that every single one of you have someone on your team that are extroverted. They just love posting or they like the biggest supporter of your business. Don't be scared to ask your customers to give you stuff. Trade a week of coaching for a what I eat in a day, for a train with me video, for a morning in the life of a coaching customer. Show your audience what it looks like to be a customer in your business. Get them posting for you. Even better if they collab you. That's great. If they collab, that's fantastic. But your customers want to be known as the hero of their own journey, not you being the hero. So showing people that they can eat well and eat what they love, showing people what your training programs look like, showing what your mornings look like, even posting in a community group and say, take a snap of your day and send it through so I can create a carousel of what we're doing this week, like a big photo dump on the page. Show your customers the life that they would be living if they were to sign up with your coaching program. And the best way to do that is to utilize the customers that you've already got. The best way to get this done too, I love incentivizing social media shout outs. I really do. So I always talk to all my customers about this kind of stuff, and I'm going to share a case study of it. But basically, you can set up like fortnightly challenges or like just like an ongoing thing. Every week you get to win a $20 gift card, right? Tag me in your story this week. You go on the running to win a $20 gift card, and this can be running week and week and week and week because they're tagging you on your stories. People love to tap on stories and see where that tag's going to and coming from. So they love supporting you. They love getting prizes. So incentivize it. There's nothing wrong with having a $20 voucher for grabs every week for people to post on their stories that you're doing their coaching with them. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, they're like, I want to win that $20 voucher every single week. I want to get it. It could be something fun. Make sure it is money driven. Make sure it's not like business driven. So like $20 Visa card, $20 CSB card, $20 sub card, something like that. Just something like with an incentive on the back end of it because people will do this. And if you think about it, if a company reached out to you and said, "Hey, will you post this online?" You'd probably be like, "I don't know." And they're like, "Hey, can you post this online for 200?" You'd be like, "Yeah, cool. Of course I'll do that." So it's just the same thing. Um, People don't buy into a service, they buy into a community. Does everyone here struggle with community in their business? Yes. Yes, it's very hard, isn't it? The online world is very, very difficult. So, community is going to be the number one thing that's going to differentiate you from a service. And it is very difficult to build. So, honestly, you could do the same strategy. If you've got a community group and you want it to be louder, first of all, you need to post in it. But second of all, go on the running to win a $20 gift card, post your meals in here for the week, show us your meal prep. Give them incentives to post in that group. Post your favorite quote. Post a photo of your morning this week. It doesn't need to be a photo of them, but showing what their life looks like in the community because not only are you building a community, but you can screenshot that and put that online and say, hey, this is what the community's up to. So you can incentivize them that community component as well. So people want to be part of something. Um, And I have like a bit of a case study. We set up a community and social media incentive, the exact same one I just told you guys about. And basically, with the community one, the price changed every 2 weeks. So it'd either be like a sub voucher or something like that. Biggest difference in getting leads. There's so much exposure, and she doesn't need to do much of it. Monthly prizes, they look forward to it. They're all posting things, they're all talking. Once we're part of something and once we love being part of something, what happens to our retention? Goes through the roof. So it's a two-edged sword. You got to put a little bit of money aside for it, but it can work really, really, really well, especially if you're an online coach. So I want to talk you through the method of what we did with Catherine. Now I know that Catherine is on our page. I've worked with her. She's had a lot of success and she's given us permission to use her story. So I want to talk you through the method because it's basically this whole presentation in here. So I wanted to give you a case study. So Catherine's gone from 14 to 75 clients in a matter of 12 months. And this has not come easy. It really hasn't come easy. So from weeks 1 to 8, this is the strategy that we did every day on top of everything else. So on top of fixing the business, every single day she did not miss a beat. It was daily engagement. It was consistent posting on social media with her digital marketing strategy. We actually set up a free run club. This is when running went a little bit wild and everyone was really interested in it. We set up a free community group and we had a run club. We were providing free health consult calls and free meal plans at least once a week on the stories. So we were giving free calls to on the stories and free meal plans to all the new followers. So we were really digging deep throughout this first 8 week period. Our customer numbers in this period only went up by 4. Keep that in mind. I actually looked at her strategy today to build this as well. This is everything that we did on the spreadsheet. So weeks 12 to 24, we did the same strategy as week 1 to 8, but instead as an addition, we put on that community incentives program and that social media initiatives program. If you guys are on Everfit, you can put social media initiatives on the autoflow, really simple, or like schedule community posts in the community group. You can do that on any community page that you use anyways. But these were the two additions that we added in. So I like to consider these as like internal marketing and then like external marketing. So we had like a balance of both. You don't want to constantly be focusing on your audience and not focusing in on your customers. So like this gave the customers things to look excited about and for and things like that. We even jacked up the prizes to like a couple hundred, so like a $200 gift card and things like that for like reels. And we're having a lot of fun with it and seeing how much we could push and get things out of people. Weeks 24 to 40, again, it's a long period of time. We started to drop back slowly on week 1 to 8 because more leads were coming through consistently. But we added in community events and she started to pull back on posting on her stories on social media because she didn't need to, which was really good. Now she follows a digital marketing strategy. She doesn't sell on her story. She doesn't post the link on her story at the moment, and she's getting at least 5 consult calls per week. Now, it's not going to be like this forever. we know that this is just a phase and we're going to have to go straight back down to week 1 to 8 again and start again because it's all like a phase. But see how it was just a compounded effect across the entire year that's finally gotten us to the point where we've completely maxed out our customers. We've left our part-time job and her retention is sky high with a 3% churn rate. Really, really low because she's done internal marketing, or we've done internal marketing. We've done community events so people can attend them and we've done internal incentives so they have really exciting things to look forward to. So see how you're keeping excitement in both internal and external. It's really, really important. So I want to finish off the call by saying your problem is probably wanting that growth now and skipping all of the steps to get there. And that's probably where the core problem is. We want to be the next Adam Sullivan, right? Let's just, as an example, we want to be like him. But we're skipping the years that he spent to get there. So that's the core problem. So they're the strategies that I've provided. Does anyone have any questions or comments around anything I've gone over today?
I have a question
Mm-hmm.
about the tracking leads better.
Mm-hmm.
When you spoke about like the lifestyle of your customers, I think you said lifestyle, and
Mm-hmm.
then the language you should use at each stage, is that
Mm-hmm.
different coach to coach, or is that something you have to learn about your customers, or is there a general structure that we can understand that better?
I wouldn't say it's a general structure. It's different from coach to coach, but like for example, Brooke, it's like I speak to you differently now than when I first met you, right? Because we're more comfortable with each other. So it's basically understanding what level of professionalism you want in your business. So when people first reach out to you, you're probably going to be super professional, and that's okay because it's a first impression. And then once they get into the next stage, it's probably going to be a little bit more laid back and a little bit of banter to build the trust so they don't feel like it's just a professional sale. It's like, okay, we're building a relationship now. And then when they become your customer, things can get quite loose and like you can talk to each other and just, have really good time because you have full faith in each other. So it's personally understanding like where you want them areas to be and how much of them you want to see. So, for example, a really great one is up until the discovery call. I'd probably be like quite professional, but like still have like, a really nice chat, nothing way too professional. Then getting on the call, letting them see your personality and letting them see that shine in the call because it builds trust with them. So, like, that's how you can kind of change it across the board.
Brilliant. And then with tracking leads, would you say someone who's in the DMs is a warm lead and then someone who's on a call is a hot lead and everyone else is cold? Is that how you would kind of describe them? Or is a new follower a warm lead or?
It's again, that's different from business to business and how you want to categorize them. But basically, yes, like if they're messaging you and asking you about your business, they're warm. If they've booked a call with you or they say they want to start, they're hot. And then the rest of them are kind of like cold. Followers can be cold, can be warm, depends why they're following you. So it's a little bit of a gray area, but yeah, DMs, warm, booking a call, hot, or telling you they want to get started is quite a hot lead.
Okay. And then do we start tracking them when they're in our DMs or do we track them when like they start following us or when they start engaging on our stories?
That's something that you can decide for your
Okay.
leads. So again, it's different from business to business. Like, if you want to track all of your new followers, that's totally fine. It can get a little bit out of hand because that's a lot of people. It's completely up to you where you want that lead to start. I would probably recommend like start with the DMs. Like if they respond to the DM, that's where that you start tracking of the lead. It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Brilliant. Thank you.
How would you tackle DMs as a single female who gets Tinder-like DMs follows? I turned my story replies reacts off 3 years ago because it was too much. Shayna, I'd be looking at your profile. I'd be looking at who's following you and your audience. Is it more male? Is it more female? And I would be doing a huge clear out of your profile. And if that doesn't work, start a new one and start again. But basically, it sounds like you're attracting, like your profile's like in that area, just removing people and starting from scratch. Is there anything we recommend to track leads? Yes, for smaller coaches, simple as a spreadsheet. For a coach like yourself, there's a platform that we've actually thought about for you. So it's called Pipedrive. It's a really, really good lead tracker. But there are some other really great platforms out there, such as like Go Modern and Go High Level, that are good for like CRM purposes. With the marketing, it's a little like hit and miss, but something as simple as a spreadsheet is perfectly fine, as long as you're keeping track of it. And also, in Instagram, you can actually label DMs now as well, and you can track them that way too. So you can do that as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Ash.
All good. Have I got any more questions? Beautiful. Well, I will end the call now. I hope you all enjoyed this call. And if you do have any questions, make sure to just flick us through an email or send us a DM. But I hope you all have the best day. See you later.